For the first segment of the event today, I'm going to invite on stage a gentleman who will take us through the role of digitization and what it plays in enhancing productivity. This session will help you understand the role played by the top 500 value creators in the economy. The role digitization plays in changing the nature of work and the business landscape, and the elements in the playbook of digital native business. I can't wait to hear his thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. How about you? So let's hear it loud for Dr. Arun Singh. He's the Global Chief Economist at Dun & Bradstreet. Please give Dr. Singh a big hand as he comes on stage.
Good morning, everyone. Just morning, first session. Could be better. Good morning, everyone. Better. Thank you. Thank you for energy, and I do expect that we'll continue to maintain that energy throughout the day, filled with lots of insight, discussion, and knowledge sharing. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the powerful Top 500 event throughout the day, and so needless to say, I mean, in fact, lots of things. Top 500 we deliberately calling the value creator, and you all know that why we are calling it value creator. Some of the things I'll basically try to show that why it's a value creator, and we continue to be this one. Top 500, if I have to talk about, they are shaping the structure and the format of the Indian economy. They are not just, what you call, watching everything from the sideline. They are part of the game. They are helping to shape the what you call the business and the tech-driven world. And they are influencing the employment, business model, strategy, economic growth, and everything. And if I have to talk about the technology, it's needless to say that it's not just what I say, that basic necessity. It's a must. It's a must to stay relevant. It must to stay what you call the leading the pack. Otherwise, we know that the company who does not support the digitization or does not adopt the digitization, what happened in the past, we all know that one. Before I move to the role of digitalization on the productivity and other things, let me just speak some data fact where we all stand when we talk about the top 500 in the country. Couple of things. I think everyone, when I talk about, we are talking about 5 trillion economy in few years from now, and we already crossed 3.5 trillion, I think this year, and looking good to cross 4 trillion, probably FY24. But out of that, top 500 contribute 31%, which is great. 1/3 of that economy, 4 trillion we're talking about, it's coming just from the top 500 companies in the country through 3 different routes. One, it's a direct, the profit generation, and then you pay wages to the employees. That's a direct contribution. And the second, what you call the indirect contribution, it's a ripple effect. You have a supplier, they supply goods, and they basically, it's through the procurement route. You're buying goods from them, it's income for them. So that's an indirect impact. And the third is the induced. We pay wages, and the employee go and spend. That's another GDP. So using these 3 routes, you contribute more than 30% to the India GDP, which is great. Sorry, technology issue. And I'm talking about the digitalization. The second, in terms of tax contribution, gross tax, and this gross tax, in fact, what is put in the budget, union budget what the government of India displays every 1st February. If I have to take out the personal income tax, the top 500 contribute 27% of that gross tax, which basically government of India put into this fund. Corporation tax 31% and indirect tax roughly around 24%. When it comes to the labor force, again 3 different routes. The first 6.6 million direct employed with the top 500 companies and 24.3 million indirect, which means their suppliers, they hire employee because they need to supply goods to the top 500 companies. So the top 500 companies are providing indirect employment to 24.3 million. And then again induced in the sense the employee who basically go and spend money, let's say household help and things like that, that's another 25.6. All put together something around 56.4. 570 million we have a labor force in India, which means 10% of the labor force in India are employed directly or indirectly by the top 500 companies who are basically sitting in this room. So you can see the power of top 500 in the country. And another positive things in terms of productivity, when I talk about one parameter, there are multiple, but I just picked return on capital employed. Look at this, how different. We put into the 5 different bucket all the companies, the micro, small, medium, large, and then top 500 one side. Top 500, they generate 12.7% return on capital employed, double than the large company in this country. So when I talk about the large organization, the top 500, the top first, the cream lot of the large organization, they are almost more than double than the large corporation. That's another good story for us. So we looked at how the digital trend are basically impacting the companies who are basically the part of top 10. I'll basically give some definition about the dominators. There are companies who retain the top 10 ranks in the top 500. So we have a top 500 companies we listed. We took top 10 companies in the 1997 and then top 10 companies in 2023. And what is basically difference in that? The dominators are basically companies who retain their top 10 ranking. The sustainers, the companies losing top 10 ranks but still in the top 500. The exit, the companies dropping from the top 500. The entrants, the new companies entering the top 500 and top 10. And the ascenders, the companies climbing up to the top 10 from the top 15 companies. Look at this one. These top 10 companies, I did not display the name of those companies for the confidentiality purpose, that the sectors they belongs to is there. If you look at the 2097, most of the companies were from the mining and energy, government-led basically. And today, the ICT companies are there, BFSI at the top. Why they are there? Because they prefer the digitalization in the company, what we call the digital native. So that's what they have retained. Why I'm trying to say that those companies who basically we call a digital native, the sector they belongs to, they have generated, for example, ICT company, they have generated 52 times the net profit since 1997. Another, the BFSI, the 45 times. And then of course food product, which is new entrant, and we all know today is the millennial are there. That's how basically the food products getting traction. There's around 41%. This all, the top 5-6 sectors or company when I talk about, they all are digital native. The level of the digital adoption in those sectors, those companies are huge, and that's why they're basically getting the benefit from the, their operation. Moving on, why I'm talking about digital, why I'm talking about the industrial revolution, why I'm talking about the digitalization and, the the way we need to basically invest time and energy to get into this one to help ourselves. Because if I have to take you all some time back, in fact, couple of centuries back, two charts here. One is most recent, right-hand side, and the left-hand side is basically slightly older chart. It talks about Industry 1, Industry 2, Industry 3, and Industry 4. So these are all our technological, the disruption on the planet. The gap between two technological disruption is shrinking very fast. From Industry 1 to Industry 2, it took 110 years. From Industry 2 to 3, it took just 80 years. And now we are part of Industry 4. From Industry 3, it took just 60 years. And I'm sure that all of you are aware that many of us talking about that we are already part of Industry 5, or maybe we are trending Industry 5. Industry 4 is not over. We are already there. Probably in 10 years, we will be full-fledged Industry 5. That's how the industrial revolution changing. And if you look at in the 2004, the Facebook took 1,600 days to acquire 100 million customer. 1,600 days to acquire 100 million customer. Last year, ChatGPT took just 60 days to acquire 100 million customer. This year, Threads took just 5 days to acquire 100 million customer. That's the impact of technology. That's basically the digital adoption. And everyone are using it to their advantage. And the people who are not part of digital adoption, a technological revolution, they're out of the business. We all know that. We know the multiple examples, what we have seen in the past. Now, some of the benefit, if I have to talk about, much talked about subject today on the AI front. Something on the working environment front, the labor force, that's basically backbone of a company performance and productivity, and then overall economy. We reached out to multiple folks, multiple people through our agency, through ourselves directly or through other channel. 1 in 4 businesses allow remote work, we all know. 3 in 5 employees says the AI has improved their enjoyment in their job. And we all know if the employee feel engaged, the productive level already goes up. 4 in 5 employees say AI has improved their own performance. When I talk about the economy size, 300 million full-time jobs will be exposed to the AI. And 40% increase in the highly skilled workers' performance. And 7% increase in the global GDP in the next 10 years. We are struggling to grow the global GDP, but that's how basically technology, that's how the AI, much talked about subject today, is going to create disruption in next 10 years. Now, what we have done last month, we reached out to 10,000 businesses across these 32 countries of all size, small businesses, micro, medium, and the large corporation. We asked their readiness, their preparedness, their adoption level of the AI in the current framework. I'm surprised to say that India, while it's lower than the global average, still around 76-77%. Something 77-78% of the Indian businesses are ready to adopt the AI. And most of them are ready to deploy AI in the various functions within their company. We got some journey. I think we need to move to the green band above the global average, but that will take a time. But just first survey. Look at the level of the preparedness, the happiness in terms of adopting the AI in their own day-to-day functions. That's how technological adoption looking like. Now, unfortunately, why I'm saying that the technological adoption is a must to improve the productivity. If not, then certainly those 30% we are talking about is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for the sustainability perspective. Because today, if I have to compare some of the countries, these are the regular names, these are the basically the countries, they started their journey along with India other than the China. You have a rapid reformers, they started their journey somewhere in 1991. Unfortunately, total factor productivity in the country for India is much lower, just 21%. Most of the things we are getting from the labor and capital, which is not great, not sustainable. Look at in China, we have almost half coming from total factor productivity. That's efficiency of using their resources. And the Poland, and maybe most of you might have not heard about the Latvia and Slovakia, very limited. The people are not aware much the way we are aware about the US and UK, Latvia, Slovakia, 71% the total factor productivity. They manage this one. We need to be there. We need to be at least 50%. Otherwise, next 10 years, forget about the growth, we'll be struggling to maintain our growth. That's a problem. So the productivity is key, and for that, digital adoption is another factor, and that's basically we cannot ignore. Why I'm saying, because if I have to compare top 500 companies on the global map, in India, for every $1 trillion, we just have 2 companies. As against South Korea, there are 11 companies for every $1 trillion. They're not big economies from our GDP perspective. We are 5th largest economy, 3rd largest from the PPP front. But still, our top 500 companies featuring into the top 500 list, Fortune 500 list, is just 2 companies. Look at France, Japan. South Korea is not that far. Germany, in fact, not bigger in terms of GDP size. They still have 6 companies in the top 500 list. So that's a piece here, and that's I'm trying to say that what digitalization can do in order to improve the productivity that we all have seen in the past, and unfortunately where we are trending. In spite of contributing 31% to the GDP, our ranking in the global 500 is not great. Now what we need to do here, I think there are certain things. Before I conclude, I just wanted to wrap up certain things that what is required today. If you look at various research paper, I think there is a very strong correlation between the productivity and the digitalization. The frontier firms, they are better able to deploy the technology, and they're better able to do the technological innovation. Most of the companies have said that they are basically not able to take a benefit of technological deployment. Deployment is not about the technology problem. There's a problem between the non-alignment between the strategy of the company, the digital adoption, and then overall the business model they need. The first thing, I think there has to be a sync between what strategy you are looking at, what digital technology you want to adopt, what is the benefit available to this one, and what is the business model we are talking about that piece. That's the first thing. And second thing is that I think we need to move beyond just technology innovation, not just the putting money into technology. We need to put money into the IP, the trademark, and then R&D. That's unfortunately that country level we are trending very bad, because investment in that will be what you call the output from that will look like a J curve, which means initially very low return, very small return, but once we grow, it will exponential growth will have from that piece, and the company should realize that piece. And third things, I think the frontier companies, they are better able to put themselves in the global value chain, putting the entire supplier customer into one piece, and better able to reap the benefit of the global value chain, and they are able to take a benefit from the agglomeration effects and moving on. That's we need. And then fourth, the frontier companies are better able to employ the skilled labor. I was talking about AI is going to disturb 300 million. Let's skill everyone to use that pieces. And the frontier companies are basically they are disproportionately hiring skilled labor to deploy at the right time, right place. So with that, I'm looking forward for more such insightful conversation. I think there are few panel discussion we have, and I'm hoping for a great afternoon and evening. Thank you for listening. Thanks.